My name is Leo Dess, CEO of Group 337 and The Inside, and along with our friends at Alcatraz.ai, we've kicked off a mini-series titled The Next Generation of Access Control. The purpose of this is to spark a conversation, a change, and a start of a new language for the industry. If we agree that the access control industry has entered into the next generation, we should also agree we need to look, say, and act next generation. In part one, we dove into the difference between the old facial recognition and the new facial authentication. In part two, we discussed biometrics. And in the final part three, we tackle how we interact with the built environment in this next generation of access control. If you're watching this, like me, you love the physical security and how it interacts with the built environment. The buildings, the spaces, the people, the technology. And if you're like me, you pay attention to how you, others, and technology interact with those buildings and those spaces. And you do it closely. So let's take a closer look. Electronic access control started in 1973. The premise was to use technology to increase safety and security while streamlining workflows, reducing costs, and delivering some cool factors for missile depots, military facilities, and high-tech enterprises that could afford it. We put up barriers, we created friction. We gave people we knew cards and fobs and told them to use them to get in. For those of you we didn't know, we made you congregate through one area and sign in manually. And it stayed like this through 1970 and the 80s. We saw some advancements in the 90s due to things like Lockerbie bombing, a little more in the 2000s with the introduction of the iPhone and the iPad, and we're starting to see even more now because of the pandemic. And I believe this is the beginning of the next generation of access control and how we interact with those spaces. There are two big reasons for this change. And the next generation of access control is being shepherded in right now. Number one, software. And number two, you. We're moving from using identities given to us in the form of a fob or a card to methods that express your identity through biometrics and other unique identifiers seamlessly. You're moving from binary policies in place set up by an administrator trying to do their best to think of every scenario to systems that understand who you are while in flight, understanding the current situation, and respond fluidly. The perimeter of which we interact with spaces and buildings has moved from an arm's distance virtually anywhere to a short distance. The primary place is right here in the palm of your hand. We've moved from static devices like cards and readers to dynamic and rich user interfaces, leveraging your true identity. And this interaction and shift into how our systems function and rely on software have introduced the second biggest reason things have changed: you. You are impacting not only the complete disruption of a credential in an old school identity business, but you are also putting pressure on the user experience and expectations of how the functionality of these systems and buildings themselves work. Just like how websites became the brand essence of a business and a critical decision maker on how we started a relationship of either delight or despair, this new power structure and way we interact with the built environment is shaping the next generation of access control. We're very close to buildings welcoming you, the true you, and not only know who you are, but also why you're here. No longer will you show up to the gym or your place of worship or your home, and it acts like you've never been there before. We also are very close to buildings welcoming you, even when it does not know who you are, and based on you offering up attributes about you, will it then be able to take the information, look at the situation, and respond. This flips the way we interact with buildings in the built environment. This moves from access control to access care. This makes it more inclusive, more responsive, and more welcoming, all while delivering a higher level of safety and security. We did it. We've broken down some of the critical aspects of the next generation of access control. Whether it's facial authentication, biometrics, or how we now interact with the places we come and leave, we're at the fantastic point in our industry. There's no better time than now. Till next time, I'm Leo Dess, CEO of Group 337 and The Inside. Thank you for taking the time to join me, The Inside, and Alcatraz.ai as we work together to bring the future to today and redefine access control.